Okay, I just made a video on what to do if you don't start speaking to players, but this is a slightly different one. This is what to do if your kid doesn't start, right? Encouraging your kid to speak with your coach about why they're not starting isn't gonna change, really won't change much, right? Because coaches have their favorite players, and there's a reason for that. It's because their favorite players, they take care of the ball, they trust them, and for whatever reason, they like either their work ethic or their attitude, or a combination of these things. There's a lie that says that all students have their favorite teachers, all teachers have their favorite students, whether they'll admit it or not. So same thing's true for soccer teams and soccer players. All coaches have their favorite players, and all players have their favorite coaches. So here are some things that you could start to either learn yourself that are going to help encourage your son or daughter to switch. You're basically, you want to shift their focus, right? If they're bummed out they're not playing, and they're bummed out they're not getting game time, you want to shift their focus on things that they can control. So the first thing I'd suggest to them is say, instead of just sitting on the sideline watching your team play, each minute on the sideline, they could be juggling to themselves, and you could tell them that no matter what the coaches say, if you show the coach that you can keep the ball up and you have great control with the ball, because usually most kids who aren't playing either have poor juggling, a combination of poor juggling and poor dribbling, bar none, right? Because if you don't have good dribbling and you don't have good juggling, then Lord knows that you don't have good shooting. So these are the things that you really want to help them, right? It's a good sign that it's good that they're not playing, because then that's saying, right, that means that they need to improve. So once they improve and they start playing at a higher level than their teammates, then they're going to earn that playing spot. And if you see that their skill level to practice is better than the kids around them and they're still not playing, then it's time for you to make a change. But until then, right, like if they can't keep the ball up for 45 minutes for each half, or 30 minutes each half, whatever level they're at, right, you got to encourage them to become practitioners and enjoy the game. And that might start with you learning how to juggle. That's one thing I regret my parents not both doing. We spent 10,000 plus hours traveling the world playing soccer. If both of my parents would have first started learning how to juggle a balloon and then a hacky sack, and keep in mind, they weren't like incapacitated, or like, they both had the physical ability. Like they weren't in a wheelchair, or they didn't have crutches, and it, it's not like they were very heavy set. Like they had the physical capability, they just didn't devote 1 minute a day to juggling. And what that meant is that if they couldn't juggle with me, we lost out on so many opportunities, traveling, tournaments, games, that we showed up early and they could have helped me warm up for games. So, if you're asking how can I help my kid get better, you can help your kid get better by learning how to juggle yourself 1 minute a day, right? You're not supposed to be good from the beginning, but if you start with a balloon and then you transition to a hacky sack and then you start learning on a bouncy ball, and then, keeping a ball up with a bouncy ball, right? It's a progression, just like anything, right? The master has failed more times than the beginner has tried. The second thing is, if there's no technical skills trainer, right? That's how my parents, when they asked the coach, how come Andrew doesn't play? And they said, well, the best players play the most and Andrew's not the best. So my parents, they took me to a skills and drills trainer named Tom Turnbull. If you don't have that, there are things that you can do, and I call them diamonds in your backyard, right? You can start to build up your son or daughter's confidence by bringing them to, right, gymnastics, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, karate, ballet. You could start using the sauna with a gym at your local college. There could be, a track coach, the track coach that's going to help them or give them some resources, have them read some books, or maybe point out some videos that are going to help them grow, right? So you want to grow in fields that are going to help carry over, right? And even, right, you say, okay, ballet, how will that help? Well, American football players used to be forced, if you played American football maybe 20 or 30 years ago, they forced you in high school to take gymnastics and ballet. It wasn't a question. You were demanded. It was a necessity, right? That's movement and strength. So there are some more. What else do we have here? Keep the ball showing up early to practice. If you get there, and let's say you're developing your juggling ability, right? Most of the time, parents do what on the sideline? They stand on the sideline and they talk. They talk whatever, they BS on the sideline. It's just a chatting circle or whatever. If you get there early to your son or daughter's practices or games, and you guys you do a little warm-up routine, and then you're juggling with them, this is going to help them get into a flow state. It's going to help them develop their skills and abilities. So you want to start, if you have to go to practice anyway, if you can design your schedule so that you arrive 20 minutes early, half an hour early, and demonstrate with your kid how to practice, right? The joy of practice. You guys could get thousands of touches before practice starts, and then they're already warmed up. If they're already warmed up, that means they're coming out firing when all these other kids are just lollygagging and not really in the zone. So you kind of want to teach them to get into this zone, this flow state, and have them ready from the jump, and teach them the value of getting there early and getting into a nice, relaxed state, right? So a good head state, and getting out of their head and into their feet and kind of becoming one with the ball. Another thing you could do is, so there are some technical skills. There's some things you could buy. Let's start with some technical skills. For all you parents, right, I've been playing soccer for 27 years, and I just learned this in the past 6 months. It's How to Breathe by Dr. Vranich, right? How to Breathe by Dr. Vranich. This is going to be something that's going to not only change your life, but it's going to change theirs as well. If you can learn how to breathe, then that means you could teach your son or daughter how to breathe. It's going to help them become more calm and relaxed in high-pressure situations on and off the field. You can also make or buy a kick trainer. And the way to help them start practicing with it is to not give it to them. You actually want to use it yourself, because this is going to show them how to use it. So in order to show them how to use it, you have to learn how to use it first, so that they see it's socially acceptable. And right, it's like your kids, they'll take after you. They take after the things you say. They repeat the things you do, subconsciously or consciously. If you make a kick train, you start using it, they're going to use it. But you got to set it up so that it's a good height for them. It might be too short for you, but that's the whole point, so that they start using it, they pick it up. Second thing you want to learn is the alternating underhand sneak. This is a rope flow pattern created by David Weck, and this is one thing that I wish I learned 20 years ago, right? This completely changed my ability to move efficiently, right? So increase my running abilities. This improve my rhythm, my timing, my coordination. If you think about it, a soccer game is, there's a rhythm to the game. There's a rhythm to life, right? Your heartbeat, you have a natural heartbeat. And when you tap into your body's ability to keep a rhythm, which is what the alternating underhand sneak does, then you're going to be able to help them excel, right? Because if you can learn how to do this, that means you can teach them how to do it. And that's going to be a challenge to do, but that's worth the challenge because of how powerful this is. I cannot understate this enough. Learning how to do the alternating underhand sneak and teaching your kids how to do this move, it'll completely change your life. Now let's talk about things that you can invest in, right? So these are things that right, I've been seeing this dribble up ball, and as much as I want to have kids shy away from computer screens and technology, I think there might be something to it, just in the sense that if it's going to help them build confidence and it's going to help them build more confidence in the ball through a game, then I'm all for it. It's not the way that I learned, but it doesn't mean it's the best way. So I think if that's something that they might be interested in trying out, testing out, then yeah, go for it, right? So dribble up. I think it's not that expensive, and it's just a fun game through your phone that you could help develop ball skills. And I think if it kind of acts like a skills trainer when there is none around, I think that's something that you could definitely check out. More fun things to do in terms of dribbling and juggling. If you buy a $20 barrel, or just use a garbage can and use it to juggle, you could start to compete with your kids juggling a ball into the barrel with your right foot, left foot, both feet alternating, then right thigh, then left thigh, then both thighs alternating. Using a barrel is going to allow them to practice taking a ball out of the air and juggling with it, and this, right, giving them a target to juggle towards is going to help them develop on the field. This is one of the games that I learned from a skills and drills trainer that helped me really grow my game. Some other things you might consider setting up a slack line. If you set a slack line up, right, a balancing, it's like one of those lines that people use to improve their balance. This is going to help translate into preventing injuries and help